Hey everybody, welcome to Talk and Ball with guests from all over, but we've got Spurs diehards TTID in the house. I'll just go around and say, hey, Adrian, how are you this fine day, sir?
I'm fine, and I'm excited about the new season. I'm excited because we're playing tonight as well. I'm really excited. I'm expecting I'm confident, and I'm expecting a comfortable victory, and that's why I'm so looking forward to the game.
Boom. I love it. I love the confidence. I'm feeling the same. Ian, what about you, my man?
Yeah, I'm the same. There's something very special. However old you are, however many years you've been following football, there is something about the first game of the season. I know we're the late starters, but I was excited when I woke up this morning. I'm still excited. I'm really looking forward to the second season of Ange, and I'm expecting us to win with a bit to spare tonight as well.
Love it. I love it. And then we've got AJ in the house. AJ, this is your debut on Talk Ball. Welcome, and I'm very glad to have you, man. How are you doing this fine day, sir?
Well, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Absolutely fantastic. It's like the other guys have said, it's something about the first game of the season. I'm not gonna lie, there's a little bit of nerves, but I'm quietly optimistic about this season. I feel that we've got some pieces that need to be fit into the puzzle, but I think once they are established, I think we're in for a fairly good season one way or another.
Love it. I think so too. I'm optimistic. I'm really optimistic. I mean, everybody knows, we've all heard about the second season with Ange, and about how much improvement there is between first and second season. And also, I'm with you guys. I went to bed last night with butterflies in my stomach. Had a hard time sleeping. I'm excited. I can't tell you how excited I am. And I'm also excited for another person I haven't seen in a long time who's in the back and bringing him in. It's Jamie Imber. What's up, Jamie?
Hello, mate. How you doing?
We're all good, man. We're all excited. But what about you? How are you, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Anxiety's kicking in now because the game's about to kick off in a little while. So,
but it's only Leicester, right? It's only Leicester.
Never underestimate anyone.
You're right, 100%, 100%. So real quick, guys, I'm going to get through some comments here. We've got lots of people in the house. This is a good one. Chris Aguibar's here. Of course, Adrian's here. But Chris Aguibar says big up to everybody. Tekken is not feeling very confident. He says Wink's masterclass incoming. He's going to boss the midfield tonight. I don't know about that, Tekken. I don't know about that, but we'll see. And he also says Maviti's going to play his heart out as a former Arsenal youth player. I'm honestly not familiar with him. I'll have to look out. And then also, I just wanted to say to everybody, If you haven't already, head on over to El Tel Cockerel. He's almost to 600 subs, and I want to do my part to get him there. So, guys, if you haven't, let's go sub to El Tel Cockerel. And then we've got a question from Mr. Tekken here, and he says, and since Jose's not here, I'll just pose it to everybody. When last there was a season with no European football at all, what position did we finish that season? And it says Europa Conference League season does not count. Do you guys remember? Honestly, I'm trying to think of the last time that we had no European football, because we've been, at least in the Europa, for years and years. I feel like now.
Did we have Europa League? Did we have any European football 15-16 when we really challenged for the league? I'm trying to think of any European football we had that year, and I'm struggling. So I don't know if that's right, but
I'm thinking that the season we qualified for the Champions League when Crouch got the goal at Man City. Did we have European football that season? I don't think we did. Didn't we? Just
no, I don't think we did. I think that was our.
We avoided relegation.
That was to get into the Champions League. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm positive.
So I get what Tekken here is saying, that maybe, maybe I know we've got some European football this season, but hey, maybe we can push ourselves back into the Champions League. Would be lovely. Big up Tekken. Glad to have you here, man. Dragon D's Nuts is in the house saying, I really hope we don't screw this up.
We won.
I'm of the same mind though. We always can. It always can happen. We got Ben Kaufman in the house. Hey Ben, what's up, buddy? Ben Kaufman,
Ben.
Coffee Company.
Ben.
Ryan G is in the house. Big up, Ryan. Hope you are doing well, my man. Our resident. He says he's a Wolf supporter. I don't know if I believe him. I think he's turned in Spurs. But big up, Ryan. Who else we got in the house I haven't said hi to? Destiny 5 is here. And then who else we got? Oh, my God. Killian Kenny's in the house. Big up, dog. Good to have you here, man. Lisa O is in the house. Hi, Lisa. Good morning / afternoon. Some of these guys are from your channel. I haven't seen some of these names before. So everybody, welcome. And if I haven't ever met you, I'm Colin. Very nice to see you guys. We got Riku in the house saying hi, guys. Romanshu's in the house. Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. And what else we got? And then Daniel Coys is talking to Tekken. He's saying you're talking 2009, 2010 roughly, which is what you guys just said. So the Encyclopedia Adrian was correct. And Romanshu's saying that Skippy leaving makes him sad. I'll kind of pose that question to you guys. That was one of my points, and this is a good kind of segue into it. How do you guys feel about about Skippy leaving? I'll start with Jamie here, since you're the newest one into the chat.
I think it's a really good move for him, to be fair. He's not playing, so there's no point keeping him around. And the money we've got for him is a steal, I think.
Oh my God, 20 mil or something like that? Yeah, that's incredible.
20 mil plus 5 minutes at Adams. I think it's 20 million up front, so that pays for a part of Solanke.
Definitely, yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's a great move. I'm just glad he's not playing today, because he'll probably have a blinder, wouldn't he?
That's how it always happens. That's how it always tends to happen. But what about you, Ian? Are you sad to see Skippy go? An academy product, we watched him grow up a little bit with Spurs.
Bittersweet for me. When he was playing at Norwich, I really thought this boy was going to be a big player for us, huge player, box to box. Unfortunately, he's not really developed as a player. I think a little bit like Winks, I suspect his development was stifled a little bit under Conte, with the constant sideways and passing and what have you. Ironically, he was really, really good in pre-season, playing at centre half and playing at left back. Showed a lot of determination. But I agree with Jamie. I think it's a really good move for him. I think he needs to be playing, and he's entitled to be playing regular football, rather than being a bit part and bench player for Tottenham. And there's no doubt there are players ahead of him. And Bergvall is another one that's just got in that will be ahead of him too. We've got a phenomenal amount of money for what would be a bit part part player, which I expect will buy another one. Maybe a Locatelli or player like that would be another upgrade. So it's a good move all round, and I'm hearing that not only is it 20 million, in excess of 20 million plus the add-ons, but we've also got a sell-on clause with it as well. So it's a phenomenal piece of negotiation.
How did we manage that?
Yeah, that's just come up on Spurs Express. So it's a great piece of business for us. It's a good move for them, for him rather, and I think it's a good move for Leicester as well. I think he'll shore up their midfield, although I still think they're going to be in big trouble this year, particularly if they suffer more points deductions.
I didn't know that they were possibly facing more points deductions. Interesting. See, I'm learning stuff all the time.
2 lots of 2.
Yikes. We'll talk about that again in a second. But AJ, what about you, man? You sad to see Skippy go?
Pretty much echo what the other guys have said. I think it's a move that suits everybody. I've got a soft spot for academy players that come through. I think it means more to them to represent the club. You can see it. And as Ian was saying, when Skip was on loan to Norwich, he was excellent. I think he was their player of the season. And there was that hope that would transfer over to Tottenham, and he never really got his chance. He was always the guy behind your first choice, So he was like the guy behind the guy, and it just never worked out for him. I'm happy that he's got a move. I'm happy that I think he's going to get regular first team football, and it frees up a space for us with a decent lot of money coming in that we can build and we can add. But yeah, I am sorry to see him go. I was sorry to see Winks go. It's just, for me, you get so much more effort from a player that comes through your academy that understands what it means to play, to represent the club that we all love. So yeah, bittersweet, but it's the best move for everybody, I think.
I agree, and I'm sure Adrian will agree as well, right? Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of our own, and he'll get a warm reception whenever he returns to the stadium. We do that with our old players and with players that have left and joined other clubs. The thing with Skip was, though, although he's a very good player and can do a good job, unlike our 6 midfielders we've got left, if you look at them, all of them can give you that something extra. They can make things happen when they're on form. Skip, all right, he scored that nice goal against Chelsea, didn't he? Straight after half time. But with Skip, you get Skip, and that's it. You don't get anything extra with him, do you? You don't get no special move or whatever. He's just basic. He's a good player.
Yeah.
He'll do a good job for Leicester.
Absolutely.
All our Spurs fans wish him well. As one of our own. No, he just doesn't give you anything extra. And now when Lo Celso goes with Højbjerg, that'll be 3 midfielders out. So we can expect at least a midfielder to be brought in, to replace
Locatelli.
Yeah, Locatelli could even. I mean, the rumours with Conor Gallagher are circulating again because he's moved to Atletico, hasn't gone through yet. It might be one of these brinkmanship moves, between the 2 clubs. So we wait to see.
So my next question is: while Leicester are taking all of our midfielders, think they had taken Yves Bissouma? They could have one of those if they would like. I'm just thinking, hey, maybe we could flog him off over to there. But no, I agree completely about Skip. It is sad, but it is kind of neat. I highly doubt that he'll see. I mean, is he eligible to play today? I don't think he will, but is he eligible? Do you guys know?
No, he's not.
Skip?
Yeah.
No.
Skip won't be eligible, not in the chance. No, I think you had to be registered to play this weekend because they don't punish teams for, being or reward teams for playing late or early. To play this weekend, you had to be registered by 12 noon on Friday. And I think people would probably have seen that Odebear is not eligible tonight because although he was registered in time, he needs a fresh work permit. In the UK, work permits are specific to an employer, and he doesn't have one for Tottenham. He had one for Burnley, so he needs a fresh work permit, so he won't be involved tonight.
Gotcha. But that should be no problem for him to attain that work permit, right? Since he's already, gotten one before and had it for Burnley. So that's a good thing. I know that sometimes when you bring in youngins, work permits are kind of hard to come by. They've made it a little trickier to obtain. Some more rules, I think, in that area. But that's great. I'm glad that he'll be getting that. I'm glad that we'll be seeing him. Before we get too far into anything, have any of you guys seen much of the player, Adobert? Have you guys?
No.
Honestly, I don't know a thing. I don't know a thing about him. I'm excited only because I don't know anything. I have no expectations, and that's sometimes the best way to go about it. And anybody in here, any of you four know anything about the fella?
I posted videos of him everywhere, right, in other groups and whatever. You can compare him with probably Aaron Lennon. That'd be the closest comparison you could make. Although he's taller, I thought he was 5'10". I see another report said he was 6 foot. I'm not sure. Goes inside, outside, can play on both wings. He's fast, right? So he definitely fits the Ange model.
Wonderful.
And so that's 2 out of 4 that we brought in that are Prem ready, because Solanke's Prem ready, and so is Odebert. So that I see a few fans, moaning a little bit about it. I'm thinking, hang about, but he had a full season with Burnley, a poor team.
Where he played under Vincent Kompany, who plays attack football. So I think that's going to be a good transition into this Ange system. I really do.
And he scored 4 goals as well. So like for a 19-year-old kid, or 18 if he was 18 then, that's pretty good going for the Premier League, and to hold your own in the Premier League. So I mean, you could say that like he's more advanced Premier League wise than even Bergvall or Gray, because as much as I like those 2 players as well, those 2 players have yet to play 90 minutes in the Premier League, whereas Odebert has had plenty of games.
Yeah.
Something I've heard.
Oh, sorry, AJ. No, you go.
Something I've heard from a fair few people and seen online are people knocking the move, and I get it, because when we've been linked with certain other players, when they've been talk about Chiesa and Neto, it might seem like a step down or a step sideways. But one thing that constantly gets levied at our wingers are they don't take a man on and beat a man. You're always looking to cut inside. This guy takes people on for fun. All the stats support that. I've watched countless videos on him. Since we signed him, I didn't know anything about him. I'm not going to profess to go, oh yeah, I've been watching him for years.
I've always had my eye on Adobert, right?
But what I did do is watch old clips from games he's played in. Obviously the highlights and trying to look for, the bits that didn't work out for him. He always looks to take his man on, and he can go on the left. He can cut inside. One thing that gets mentioned about Kulu is he's predictable when he's out on the wing. And he cuts inside all the time. You know what's coming. So once you know what someone's going to do, it's easier to mark them out of the game. They're less impactful. This kid has got pace to burn. He's got very quick feet, and he's comfortable on the left or the right. If he's playing out on the right, he drops into the middle and picks up the number 10 position. That's good. If Maddison's not on it, if Maddison's not performing, that's another option, I think, you would hope that he's going to adapt. You would hope that he's going to hit the ground running and have a good season. And I don't think we bought him to be a backup. I don't think we've bought him to be on the bench. I think we've bought him because he offers that something extra that we don't have in that position. I think it's a good buy. I don't think it's amazing. It's not something that wows me. But if you look at players like Neto for 60 plus million, who's injury prone, and you look at players like Chiesa, who's had one standout season and a couple of decent seasons, but has had injury concerns, and he can't get a move for love nor money. I think it's a good bit of business, and he's 19 years old. If he's a success, if he's a hit, we could have him for 6, 7, 8 years of performing at his highest. So it's all ifs and buts, but I think it's a decent bit of business.
Colin, have you seen his stats?
I have not.
Very impressive.
His stats are identical to Nico Williams.
Oh, snap.
Identical.
Wow. Okay. And arguably playing in, I don't want to say a harder league necessarily, but yeah, I mean that's wonderful. Okay, that makes me even happier about the deal.
Colin, they were scarily identical. I mean, it was almost like if, there was. I don't know if it came up on Talkable, certainly on a few of the WhatsApp chat groups. The stats were almost like looking in a mirror.
Wow.
And Nico Williams is meant to be one of the best young players in football. I mean, I agree with AJ. I think that the idea of spending 60 million on an injury-prone Neto, who's in the mid-20s, and paying 20 million or whatever we paid, 25, whatever we paid for this boy, who has pace to burn, and Neto would have suited Tottenham. I mean, much more than I think it would suit Chelsea and the new manager's style. I think, well, that Chelsea's a basket case, but I'm really excited by what I've seen about this boy, and particularly how we'll fit the style of football that Ange wants to play, and in particular, as AJ said, with wingers attacking fullbacks, balls being played in behind fullbacks, and then taking on players for fun. It's actually why Werner fits what he does. If only Werner could hit the target once in a blue moon. But I know why he signed Werner. I totally understand it. But this boy hopefully will have more of an end product as well. His goals, he needs to score more goals, Odebear. But at 19, he's got time to improve that side of his game. I don't think Werner's going to get any better.
Unless Werner somehow unlocks whatever happened to his brain to completely undo his confidence. Yeah, he's never gonna score you 10 goals a season, even, I don't think. But Jamie, had you heard anything about Odebear before he came?
To be honest, I didn't. I watched the first game when Burnley kicked off the opening game. I was like, oh, this guy's pretty quick and decent. And a few days later, he signed for Spurs. So no, I don't know much about him, but I think the fans are getting annoyed because obviously it's not a big name, which people just need to chill out a little bit. That's why we're always starting on each other in like group chats and social media. Yeah. People just need to chill. I wanted Neto, but he plays 6 games a season and he's spending 60 million. It's just not worth it. Give the kid time and see how he goes.
Definitely. And I think we all said too, at least I asked people, I said, during the transfer window, if we get players that we've never heard of even, but Ange wants them, would you be okay with that? And everybody said yes. But then when it comes time to finally pay up and to pay the piper, then everybody wants to get upset because, I think we just have to trust Ange. Ange clearly has a vision, and that vision is young players that you can get to really buy into his system, mold them, players with no baggage, no ego. I also think it's a good it's a good sign that we might be seeing Ange for years to come. I think that buying these young players kind of almost for him, I don't know. It just makes me feel positive about maybe us actually having a manager see out their contract for once, not sacking them right away. But that does lead me to a question I was going to ask you guys. I'm doing all my questions out of order. I apologize for that. Let me find it here. But do you guys think? Here we go. So Leicester are not looking to be in great shape at the moment. Must-win match for Spurs. Will Ange be in the hot seat if we don't manage a win? I know it's first match of the season, but do you think that fans will turn? Do you think that people will be upset? And I'll throw that at Adrian first.
No, not at all. I mean, we're talking first game of the season? I mean, West Ham and Chelsea lost their games. They're not going to sack their managers, are they? I mean, I wonder why a question like that gets asked and the reason behind it at this time of the season. First game? No. Ange is safe all season. I don't see Ange being with us for years to come. I think we're going to have a terrific season. So,
I truly hope so. Yeah.
I would just go to one bit on the Odegaard thing.
Of course.
Obviously, he's French, and it should be mentioned that Burnley bought him off of PSG. He came through the PSG academy. And it's no wonder he couldn't get into their first team. So I just want to throw that in. He's come from a pedigree background, at PSG. So I just want that in. But back to this question again. No, it's not a must-win match, but we are going to win it. We'll be top of the league tonight. We're going to score more than 3 goals and go above Brighton.
I love the optimism. I love it. I'm in the same mind. We'll go with you, AJ. Though, do you think that any of the fans will be, I don't know, turning on Ange a bit if we don't win this match? I know there's some fans that don't like him already. There's some fans that don't think that he's up to scratch, that he's Tottenham quality, that he's Premier League quality. Do you think a loss tonight would just fuel that and make, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to ask.
I know what you're saying, buddy. For me, it's a question where I'm going to answer it with a depends. It depends on who you are, whether you're a fan on social media or a fan that goes to the games, because the atmosphere and the vibe inside the stadium is totally different to what comes on social media. It's like chalk and cheese. I don't think Ange would be in the hot seat. I don't think he's in imminent danger of losing his job if we didn't get a victory. But obviously, with any setback, with a draw against teams you should be beating, with a loss against teams that maybe you should be picking up a draw against, it's always going to be, well, we should have been doing better. Then you start asking questions. Then the manager has to come out and defend himself and the players, and it's so much more scrutiny if you don't hit the ground running. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's make sure we get the win so we don't have people asking that question. But for me, I just think the talk of a man that took us from 8th to 5th after losing the best striker in world football, when many people said we're going to be finishing lower part of the table, we're going to be getting relegated without him, and we actually scored, although I think it was a few, we scored more goals. So this is the thing. It depends how you look at it. There's always multiple ways of looking at any particular scenario, isn't there? But for me, he isn't in any imminent danger. But let's just hope we get a win.
Absolutely agree. Fellas, anybody else have anything to say about that? Do you think?
I'll go further. There's a quote there, International Observer. I don't know who you are, sir, but or madam for that matter. Perfectly legitimate question to ask about Ange. Spurs are one of the fastest to sack managers. He will sack you while you're on the bench, mate. Yeah, Spurs sack you regularly, so it's a valid question. And actually, that's a valid criticism. It would certainly be one of my criticisms of Levy in terms of his for a highly intelligent and educated man, how he's not really managed to have a coherent plan for the club. A lot of his thinking has been very short term and piecemeal, trying to put elastoplast over wounds that needed bandaged. But I do think though it's a ridiculous question, to the sense that one, he's been in a year. I was talking to Adrian off stream before the show, and apparently we've sort of over the last 12 months, 15 players have left the club. So Ange appears to have been brought in with a mission to completely change the playing staff and to change the culture of the club, and certainly the playing side of the club, which has been too much of a losing mentality. And you saw at the end of last year how he just said, I've learned a lot in the Manchester City game. I've learned a lot about what's wrong with this club, and I think he's trying to change that. I think the other thing is a couple of things. One, I think you'll see a very different team this season. I think with the pace down the flanks, and Odebeer is a really interesting signing from that point of view. I think I watched a game with Johnny Hammy, who some of you will know. I think it was against Bournemouth. I was sitting in the south stand, and he was constantly criticising, with justification, what he called horseshoe football. The ball was going across and then a back across, and that's not Ange ball. The ball goes behind the fullbacks and it goes behind quickly, and the attack is with real pace.
Low driven cross, yeah.
And we didn't get that last year, and I think you'll see a lot more of it this year. And if Maddison and Sarr and what have you can't deliver it, they'll be replaced by people who can. But the last point I want to make, probably a bit more controversial, is I do think there are some with an anti-Levy agenda who don't want us to succeed, and then think, well, if we don't succeed, we get rid of another manager. It's another stick we can beat Levy with to get get Levy out. I think Andrew's here for the long term. I think he's working closely with Lance to get in the players he wants. He was brought in by Scott Munn, who he worked with in Japan. Unless we're 2 points from 8 games and sitting at the bottom of the table, I don't think there's a cat and hell's chance that Andrew's going anywhere.
Lovely. I truly pray you're right. He's been my favorite Spurs manager since, I guess since Pochettino. But
I'll just add to Ian's wise comments here. If you look at just the loans, and I haven't got them all because I'm not sure Max Robs and others, right? We've loaned out Scarlett, Donnelly, Josh Keeley's going, and Matthew Craig, and that's all we know so far, right? We've brought in 6 players. We brought in Archie Gray, Lucas Bergel, Youngmin Hyuk, George Feeney, you won't know, he's a very young player striker, Dominic Solanke and Wilson Odbert, right? That's cost us 134 mil, right? Now, outgoings from the beginning of last season when Ange came in, Harry Kane, Eric Dyer, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Emerson Royal, Troy Parrott, Brian Gill, Oliver Skip, Joe Rodon, Diego Santiago, Noel John, right? There's 10 outgoings without the loans, you know.
Yeah.
We've spent 134 million on players. And with the 20 mil from Skip, we brought 17 million in. So our total spend has been 64 million, right? Which is peanuts for us, right? Yeah. Now, we have yet to get rid of Regular and Lo Celso. Now, Lo Celso's won the Copa America. If you can't get 10 mil for him, 10 or 12 mil for him, and 8 or 10 mil for Regular, that would bring our spending down in this transfer window before we get any more in the last 2 weeks, or even loans, because you can get loans after the 2 weeks is over, right? That would bring our spending down to about 40 mil. 40 mil. So you can't tell me, if we wanted to, you can't tell me we couldn't go out and get Eze now because we've got the money. You can't tell me if we didn't want to go and get Eze that we couldn't go and get Locatelli and say Vanderson from Monaco. But me and Ian spoke about that earlier as well. And see, we don't know. You know, with that, I mean, I'm going off a little bit. I'm just trying to defend Ange a bit here, and
I love it. Yeah,
that's been put in place, right? But we don't know because we have all these permutations, and Ange's not a manager who's going to throw players under the bus. Now, I'm a bit like that with Spence. I like what I see, but I want to see him improve his defensive qualities, right? That he looks a very skillful player, good going forward. But if the rumours about Vanderson are true, does that mean he doesn't trust Spence? Or does it mean that he trusts Spence and that Vanderson and Spence would vie for the inverted fullback and Porro be pushed into midfield or further upfield? So you get all these permutations go through your head. Because Ange and this team are not like any other team we've witnessed before at Spurs, are they? I mean, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing. And they come up with Højbjerg going to Marseille. Who would have seen that? Who would have seen us getting Archie Graham when Brentford looked to have the deal clinched and no one see the Odebert signing? So what I'm saying is there's been a lot of positives at the club. There's been a lot. The whole footballing structure has been changed. I won't name everybody's position and structure of the club that I know, right? Yeah, no, right. I'm just saying, right. Angie's going nowhere this season.
Music to my ears. And Jamie, I just wanted to ask you too. What do you think about Ange? Do you think that he's the right caliber of manager for us? Do you think that he's got what it takes to take us to a trophy?
Yeah, no, I love Ange, and if we ever got rid of him, I think I'd cry because he's probably the first manager since Poch, like you said, Cole. So, but there is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was AJ goes, but there is like an agenda where there's some fans that just want to moan about everything. There's like a certain channel which I'm not going to name, but constantly they always look at the negatives, and I don't think they want Ange in the beginning. They want someone that's world class, but we've had world class. And they can't seem to win. And it's always down to the owners. It's not always the owner's fault. I'm not sticking up for Levy, but he's done an amazing job outside. It's just the football part needs to be sorted. That's why he's brought in Scott Munn. I think Andrew's here to stay. And like I put on Twitter the other day, I think we are going to finish this up 4. So just let him be. The managers need time. Pep said the other day about the Chelsea manager, I can't remember his name. Give him time and then he will succeed. Managers can't be at the door within a year because you're not going to win anything.
I love it. I love the we're all positive people in here, and that's what I like. Well, guys, enough about that. We've got a match today. Football is back, thank God. I've missed it. I don't know if you guys watched matches over the weekend. I didn't watch tons of football, but I am just so happy to see my boys back. Dom Solanke, do you think he's gonna? You reckon he starts up top today? There's a misspelling in there, but you know what I mean. You guys reckon that we'll see him start or come off the bench?
I'm
What do you think?
hoping so, but for some reason, something tells me Kulu's going to start in the middle. I don't know why, because he's had a good preseason. But
Sorry.
no, I think Dom needs to start to obviously understand Andrew's system, and if he does start, I think he scores.
Love it. AJ, you were saying something?
Yeah, sorry, I went to speak and then cleared my throat, and it just sounded like I was talking over them. So I apologise for that.
No
Should have muted
apologies
myself.
necessary. No apologies on this channel. We're all just hanging out. We're good.
I would like to see Solanke start, but it all depends on what training's been like. I think he's had just over a week with them, hasn't he? We didn't sign him early enough for him to play any part in the game against Bayern. It depends how Ange thinks he's taken to training, whether he totally understands the system and his role in it. It could be that Kulu, who did very well in pre-season, very, very well in that position, starts, maybe gets 60, 65 minutes, and Solanke comes on at the end just to kind of bed him in. You can't really take any game for granted at this level, but it is Leicester. We are going to face far sterner tests. So if you can afford to give your striker time and let him come into the game when we're maybe comfortable, that's probably better than chucking him in at the deep end if you're not sure about him. We don't know what's been going on in training, so it's totally down to Ange and the staff to make that decision. But
And
I
I
wouldn't be
feel like a
surprised either way.
striker. I feel like striker is one of those positions too, where it doesn't take as long to get up to speed. But maybe that's just me. But I think a striker is a striker. Of course, there's going to be differences. Certain managers will want you to press more. There's going to be slightly different play styles. But I think a striker knows where to position themselves to score goals, and that's really their job. And so I wouldn't be super surprised to see him start. And Ian, what about you, buddy? Do you think we'll see him? Start today?
I'll be
Starting 11?
astonished if he doesn't start. I mean, I'll be really surprised. A couple of things that Anne just said to give the clue. First of all, he talked about Van der Ven only being with the team 3 days, and he started in the first match at Brentford and played extremely well. The second thing is that he was very complimentary in his presser on, I think it was on Friday, about the way Solanke had trained and the way he'd fitted in. He's brought him for a particular purpose, and I think the best way of him learning around his teammates and the style that Ange wants and the kind of finishing positions he wants to be in to finish the kind of football that we weren't finishing off last season is to play matches. So I would be staggered if he doesn't play.
But also, I need him to play because he's in my FPL team. So,
there you go.
yeah,
there you go. And then Adrian, of course, we got to get your take on it. I like to make sure everybody gets involved. What have you got, buddy?
Well, I picked my team, the usual back five, and I went for a midfielder, Bentancur, coming in for Basuma, who's rightly been suspended. Should be for more than one match, in my opinion, at least 4. But that's another story. With Sarr and Madison, obviously. And my front three would be Son, Solanke, and Kulusevski. I mean, otherwise, what more has Kulusevski's got to do? He's got 4 assists and 3 goals pre-season. He's been our best player. But like the other guy said, if for some reason Solanke doesn't play, then you probably would say Kulu would go as a 9. We know that. I mean, Kulusevski's got slow. I mean, there's a big myth about him being slow, right? But we know that Ange, likes lightning fast wingers who hug the touchline, right? So I think there's an outside chance Kulu possibly doesn't start, but then Johnson has been poor pre-season. He's just not looked good. Last year he got 5 goals, 7 assists, but he's just not looked good. And I'm sure he will come good, but no, I see him going solid. Plus, Kulu gives you that bit of hold-up play, doesn't he, away from home when you expect to be under more pressure. So, he helps Porro. They work together as a pair, those two as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I was going to say as well, I think for some reason, I think one of the new boys, Archie or Bergville, will start in this game. I'm hoping Bergville, because I think he'd be good in midfield with Madders. Because we will need to go full attacking, because I think Leicester are going to sit back because they've got no strikers up front, have they?
I think that the only chance Bergville plays is if Bentancur doesn't start, because Ange loves Sarr and he was our best midfielder last year because the others were out injured and whatever. So and he's box to box, so he suits the system, Sarr. So if Bergville plays, I think it would have to be at the expense. It won't be Maddison. Players have a habit of going back to their home grounds and scoring and playing well. I mean, because they're used to the surroundings, they feel more comfortable. I mean, yeah, the only way I see Bergville started, I mean, I could be totally wrong with my selection, but I mean, the only way I see Bergville starting is if Bentancur doesn't. So,
isn't that a beautiful thing? We didn't used to have this. We used to know who was going to start every match because we didn't have depth. We didn't have players that could come off the bench and adequately replace other players. And I love this. I love the fact that there's a selection headache. I love the fact that some good players aren't going to start. I love that, it's the competition's great. Being able to select players, horses for courses. I don't know. It's great stuff. And I think it's finally looking good.
That's why we asking Spurs diehards usually, and I mean, I ask, well, give us your team selection who you want to see play, and give us the team selection you think Ange will pick, because you can let your heart rule your head if you've got particular favourites. We all do it, but I think he'll go with a tried and tested. Like I say, I see Bentancur starting unless he gives way to Bergville. Other than that,
What formation do you think he's going to play though? Do you think it's going to be 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1?
Probably, I think it depends on if Solanke plays. 4-2-3-1 if Big Dom's up top, but I think if we play somebody like Kulu in the middle, I could see it being a 4-3-3. But that's just me personally. I mean, yeah. I also want to say I've missed a ton of comments, guys. They're coming in thick and fast. I appreciate everybody being here. I've seen tons of names. I want to say hey to Pranvat. Pranvat's in the house, our resident Chelsea fan. Wait. Pranvat's a United fan. Pranvat's here. Good to have you here, Pranvat. And then we've also had some questions asked that I've starred and we'll get to. Just want to let everyone in the chat know I'm not purposefully leaving you guys out of this. We will get to your questions, I promise, and good to see everybody. Yeah, I cut somebody off real bad there. Sorry about that. I think it was Adrian. I have a habit of cutting Adrian off.
It's justified.
I was going to say it happens both ways. It's back and forth.
I think it'll be the usual formation. I think it'll be a 2-8. No, I'm joking. I don't see much difference. I mean, when people talk about formations, there's a bit of a myth because you don't keep that shape all throughout a game. We get the idea how you train to a system, but 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, there's not much difference when you've got all that fluidity on a football field, is there? There's not much difference. It'll be an attacking style one. We know it's going to be attacking style home and away all season, right? And it's going to be 4 with a 3-3 really in front. It's going to be 4-3-3. If you're playing two wingers, you've got to play your number 9 up there, haven't you? So so
definitely. We got Scott M in the house, who's
his usual moans.
Yeah, it's Scott. Big up, Scott. We love having you here, man.
Scott, we love you, Scott.
I love all opinions. All of them are good. All are valid.
Scott, someone said of you that you'd give a paracetamol a headache. I'm afraid that was the funniest and most accurate thing I've seen on any broadcast. But anyway, there you go.
Scott, Scott, you are our beloved replicating landmine, right?
Hey, if we got to keep ourselves level, and I think sometimes some of us have too lofty expectations. I think Scott's a little too low, and so maybe that kind of balances us out and gets us right in the middle where we should be. So, big up, Scott. Again, glad you're here. And look at this, guys. We got a celebrity in the house. Brian Daigle is here.
Yeah.
Big up, Daigle. Big up, Daigle. Hope you're excited for the match.
Big up, Brian.
Yeah. Daigle's a good man.
I'm seeing Brian, I think, a week on Saturday or a week on Sunday in Toronto. So, yeah,
man,
that should be fun.
how do you deal with all the jet lag? You were all over the place, man. You must.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Cool.
I'm
Good
older
stuff.
than you, so
Mm.
doing these trips before I get too old or too unfit, or the big
Yeah.
man upstairs says, "Sorry, that's enough of your eating, drinking, and not enough gym time." So yeah,
No, you're doing good. You're a healthy man. But yeah, that's awesome. Good deal. And I'm glad. Tell Daigle I said what's up. And I mean, I can tell him here, but let him know that Talking Ball loves Brian Daigle. And
yeah.
and
Sorry, but I'm sorry. I need to interrupt just because we won't get to it. Ben's just said, "Are you going on the trainee?" And no, we're actually flying because there's quite a lot of water, Ben. But if you're asking me if we're going on the Rocky Mountaineer, absolutely, and then going to Alaska. So from Vancouver. So yes, Ben, I think that's what you mean. Yeah,
that's lovely. That'll be so much fun. Please take lots of pictures, please. I would love to see them.
Jack London country.
Exactly.
Colin, when are you back in the UK?
So I haven't really planned. I haven't really got a concrete plan, but I'm gonna be there sometime this season, and I just have to make sure that I can get tickets. You know what I mean? I'm kind of basing it around what match I can get tickets for. But yeah, I'll be there this season. I'll come see you guys.
Colin, I live in London. I can't get tickets. I don't know how.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna have to save up a lot and just buy some scalper. Some scalper is gonna charge me too much money, but I'll pay it.
I paid a scalp when we went to Fulham, and cost me £80 to watch us lose 3-0.
Sheesh.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I bet, man. So guys, another question I wanted to ask, and I think I kind of put it up for a second. Is Destiny fit today? I've seen conflicting reports on whether or not Destiny is fit to start. What's got you laughing, Ian? Ian, what did I miss?
Yeah, Dan Kilpatrick said that he's available. I think he got on Twitter today.
But
I don't think he played a full game.
Makes sense. So
I,
then do you think
I'd definitely start? I would definitely start with Udogie. I would definitely start with him because I think if it's the choice is Davies, the drop off is huge. Spence has been very good attacking pre-season, but he has looked a little bit sloppy in defence. But saying that, Udogie last season, he had really good defensive displays, but he also, it's more to do with the position that he plays and how far forward he is. He gets caught out, but that's not really his fault. It's not that he's not doing his job properly. So I think he's definitely our first choice, and if he's fit, he's got to play.
Yeah, agreed completely. There's some funny comments here telling you to look out for Bigfoot. Watch out for him, Ian. You don't want to get got by the Bigfoot. Yeah,
watch out for Littlefoot as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with either of them. Yeah,
there's some very, very funny comments in the chat.
Dryos Peanut says the area of Tottenham is beautiful. Call, you're in for a treat. Yeah, I've been there a few times. I stayed in Tottenham once, which was not probably my smartest idea. And I got a knife brandished at me, which was really cool.
Didn't you stay by the what was it? The park, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. But it was cool. And the area was called Little Russia, I believe, or maybe it was just affectionately referred to as Little Russia. But yeah, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. Only Ian and Brian can understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what you're saying right now, Ben. No clue. Not a single clue. But big up, of course. If you've never heard or eaten a Bloomsburg sandwich, absolute heart attack and 2 pieces of bread. So what's on the sandwich? I need to know.
I'm a salt beef man myself, but
yeah, me as well. Salt beef, brilliant.
A Bloom's salt beef sandwich with latkes and coleslaw. Just don't go there.
I haven't had lunch yet, so you guys are making me hungry. But yeah, good stuff. Graham's in the house says not too fussed about the starting 11. In theory, any option should be more than enough. More interested to see how quick subs are made if not going to plan. That's a good point. I don't think that Ange is quite as stubborn with his subs as maybe like Pochettino was. He wouldn't make them until like the 80th minute sometimes. how do you guys feel about Ange's subs and how fast he makes subs? And AJ, I'll come to you first. Do you think that Ange has shown that he's pretty tactically astute or willing to make changes, or how do you view that aspect?
I think last season it was a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes I think later in the season, if it wasn't going right, he would make the changes quickly. But I think early on and midway through, it was you'd be able to see, we'd all be able to see that players weren't gelling. It wasn't happening, and you'd be thinking, right, make the subs now. Give your substitutes enough of a chance to get into the game and to affect it. And they'd come 10 minutes later than you'd expect. So I think last season was a bit of a mixed bag. I'm just hoping that this season, if he can see, if we're all aware that something's not right, it's not working, that he makes the changes quickly, proactive instead of reactive, right? If you can see that you're losing possession in the midfield, I don't know whether you go chuck an extra body in there, whether you tweak your system slightly, but I mean, yeah, you've got to be proactive instead of reactive. So as long as he's making the changes quickly and we're affecting the game positively, then I'm cool with that. But yeah, I want to see him being more positive.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about the rest of you fellas? And I don't even mind who goes next. Fight amongst yourselves.
They sold Dewsbury Hall, didn't they, Leicester, to Chelsea? That was a strange one.
Well, their manager left for Chelsea too, of course. I wonder if that was part of the deal. If he just wanted him, you know what I mean? He just wanted this player with him.
I heard they've got a few injuries, but I don't know if these injuries have played a important part in their promotion. I see a list of 3 injuries. I can't remember who the players are, to be honest with you. Maybe some of you can. I don't know.
You got Daka's out, Vardy's out. They're out for sure. And then Connor Cody's definitely out as well.
Oh, he's out. Is he the defender? Yeah.
Yeah, nice. He's out. He's not back for at least another month or so.
No Vardy. Jamie Vardy's a player I haven't thought about for a long time. How much
Vardy's been out? Yeah.
He's one for the future. He's only 37.
Right. Exactly. He's young. He'll make mistakes, but he definitely an enigma, that guy, with his Red Bulls and his nicotine patches before matches. But yeah. So
I always remember with Vardy. I always remember, if you remember the game we won 5-4, a clinch fall for Champions League football.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Vardy, they subbed Vardy to come on and take the penalty, right? And he came on and missed it. Do you remember? Lloris saved it.
One of the 3 or 4 penalties Lloris ever saved. Yeah.
Well, he made 3 that season. He made the one at Arsenal that got us the draw there when they would have won the game, didn't he? And he made the one at home to Man City in the Champions League.
That's so
dodgy
true.
Penalty, right? He made 3 big ones in that season.
I'm talking shit here. I'm speaking out of line. Yeah, you're right. I'm not giving him enough credit. Good old Hugo. So I have another question to ask, and then I'm gonna run actually and grab my charger, and I'm gonna laptop charger because I really smartly forgot to bring it. It's just downstairs. But before I do so, I wanted to ask this question, and I'll let Adrian go first because I know he'll still be talking when I get back. With Spurs' record against set pieces and with no set piece coach, as you guys know, do you think Leicester will look to exploit that? Do you think Leicester will look to to make good use of their set pieces and try to nab goals that way, especially since they're kind of strikerless at the moment?
I think every team tries to score from set pieces. With us and set piece coaches, I mean, people say bring a set piece coach in. Well, then I do wonder what our coaches are doing, because our first team's got 6 coaches. You've got Rob Birch, the goalkeeping coach. Then you've got Matty Wells, ex-Spurs player, is now our head coach. Then you've got Ryan Mason and Milo Jedinek. And then you know the other 2 that are brought in, Nick Montgomery and Serge Raymond, who had success with Mariners in Australia, and were then managed Hibs together and the Scotland under-21. So he'd know more about them than I do. But so if we need a set-piece coach, what exactly are our coaches doing? I mean, and surely delegate. I mean, if one of them's doing data and analysis during the game, like Milo Jelinek seems to be sitting up there with the press with a laptop, probably recording data from them sports bras that players wear when they're running about and all that, passing information down to Ange, maybe, if that's what happens. I don't know what happens really, or whether that information is just collated and kept and used for a chat with the players at a later date. I don't know. But I think we've got enough coaches now beyond me. I mean, we also took Danny Moody and Mark Chapman off of Southampton because they had such a good youthful setup, and they've come to our under 18s and 16s. I mean, the setup. Then you've got like Andy Scolding's in charge of pathways and academy recruitment. I mean, like then you've got Rob McKenzie as head coach, and we nicked Max Legoff off of Bayern Munich as first team as scout. Sorry, Rob McKenzie as head scout, and Max Legoff as first team scout. I mean, the whole club, the footballing side, has been totally revamped. And you know what Scott Munn does, and you know that Langs is the director of football. So, there is an excellent team at this club now, which wasn't there, a season ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think set pieces are going to hurt us tonight, Jamie?
No, I think we'll be all right. I think Andrew would have probably worked in that during the week because obviously everyone's trying to exploit it with Vicario. But no, I think we're right. I think what AJ said, what's the point bringing a set piece coach? We've got a manager and a big back staff. It'd just be pointless. So I think we'll be all right.
100%.
We've got some big defenders. So
very true. But we even I don't know, struggled. For one, I don't feel like VDV can get his head on a ball for some reason. But anyway, so this is an old bit of news, and it was too long for me to type in here. But you guys saw that they've kind of changed the enforcement of some rules, and that holding or obstructing a player will be penalized a lot more stringently in set pieces. I think that'll benefit us. I do. I didn't watch much football over the weekend. Like I said, did you guys? Did anybody watch much football over the weekend?
Yeah, I saw Crystal Palace denied a really good goal, perfectly good goal, by a referee appearing to see an infringement that didn't take place. The thing was about people talking about VAR. The whistle had actually gone before the ball went into the back of the net. Therefore, VAR has no role to play. Once the referee has given a foul while the ball is still in play, the VAR can't interfere. Probably self-evident why. But I thought the goal was perfectly legit. I did post on one or two of the social media groups I'm in about the goal that West Ham conceded. They don't have a set piece coach, and the goal they conceded, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people in the chat saw it, and my fellow panelists. I mean, the bottom line is if defenders don't do the basics, like picking up players in the box and tracking runners, then no amount of coaching in the world is going to change that. So, but your earlier point, Colin, is absolutely right, that I think it will suit us. I think players trying to block off the goalkeeper and what have you, I think we will benefit from that. But that doesn't mean we don't have to improve at defending set pieces. We do, but I do agree the laws, the law change will help us. Just one piece of breaking news that Valith is playing, starting for Espanyol tonight against Valladolid, and I think that's good news for him, good news for us.
What time is kick for that?
Sorry?
What time is kickoff? Is that 6 o'clock?
Oh, funny enough, I don't know, but it might. Presumably, it's 6 p.m. kickoff here, 7 o'clock Spain. I'll look that up while you're talking, because I've done my bit anyway. So I'll have a look. That might be a game worth having a look at before our game. So I'll just have a look at that and come back to you, Jamie.
They've tweaked the handball rule as well, and I was disappointed with the offside. I seen what game was it? The Chelsea Man City game. I thought this offside automatic rule was going to be decisions were going to be made a bit quicker. I didn't think it was a bit quicker. But
yeah,
apparently, go on.
No, go on.
Apparently, they're not implementing. I thought they were going to be using the same system that they were in the Euros and in the Champions League, like that semi-automated system. but apparently they're not using that yet. They're going to be using it after, I think, the international break, which is ridiculous. Why would you not start the
What? Yeah,
campaign with this?
what the hell? Yeah, change the
This
rules
is
halfway
this is.
through.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's 100% sure. All I know is I know that the league were meant to be implementing the semi-automated system, and they definitely weren't doing that because they were messing around drawing those stupid lines, which irritates me. And they always say, we can see it on the screen in real time. We can see, no, that's not offside, or yep, he's a mile offside. And then these experts that have been trained to use this amazing system are spending 3, 4, 5 minutes drawing lines. It's just stupid. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It takes the passion, the emotion out of the game.
And
It
part, and
just
part of my language, I feel like they're just kind of dicking around with those lines too. Like they're never, it's
100%.
never consistent. It's never
It's
consistent.
yeah.
For one,
It's
for
not
one,
an exact
the
science.
camera isn't level with. I don't know. You know what I mean? If they had a camera, I guess like on one of those like cameras that are in the air that was following the action the entire time and like kept they could draw a straight line. That's good, but they're all angled and yeah, I don't know. I hate it. I feel like it's just guesswork with some lines drawn on it to make it look like it's not guesswork. But yeah, that's my thing. So I wanted to say, Jose, let us all know. Eltel, let us know that it's a 6 p.m. kickoff to watch Valith play today. And then he also, we also need to point out that everybody, if you haven't already, and I already lost it. Well, hold on one second. If you haven't already subbed to Jose's channel, please do so. And here is the link. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Bing, bang, boom, done. Let's help him get to 600 people. If anybody deserves it, it's him. You know how much he puts into this. So everybody go and support my man, Jose, my partner in crime. He's a good dude.
Oh, can I just quickly say in regards to the leads, one thing that irritates me, and I don't get, and maybe one of you guys can enlighten me. I'm happy to learn. If you want a player to get game time minutes and understand the Premier League and to be ready to go when he gets his chance, why would you loan him out to Spain, which is a completely different league, completely different way of playing, less combative, to then come back into the Premier League and face centre halves that are going to demolish you and take lumps out of you and manhandle you? Why would you? For me,
I would have rather he gone to the Championship, to be honest.
Exactly. This is what I was saying. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
The only thing I can think of is like comfort, maybe. You know, he speaks the language, but he needs to be getting comfortable in England. He needs to be learning. 100%. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get it in a way because they're making it easier on him, but I don't think that's what he needs for his development. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
No, I agree with you. I spoke to a good friend of mine, and he was like, Velez can't speak a word of English at all. So that's why they sent him over there to get more comfortable and understand the game. But I agree. I think he should. I think I would like to have gone maybe Ipswich or Southampton because I think they were doing quite well there.
That would have been great, yeah. And his loan last season was absolutely piss poor. So
he played, yeah.
Yeah. So Daniel's saying
he scored against Brighton away, and it was a dogged goal to get for a striker. And he didn't want to come off at the lane when he was patently injured, and they still passed him the ball. I watched videos of him. There's something about this player I like, but I can't make a firm decision on him till I've seen more of him. You know.
Right. I know Jose's a big fan.
I like his grit.
He was a Paratici buy, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Back when Paratici was still cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. I don't know. Daniel says he's the new Valise, or he's the new Brian Hill. Sorry, we're just going to loan him to Spain every year. I hope that's not the case.
He's the new Helder Postiga for me, I reckon, at the moment.
No. He's not a Brian Gill. He's not lightweight. I tell you that. He's not lightweight.
No, he's a big guy.
No, he's a rough lad. Like he likes to get mixed up. You can see that, and this is why I think that he should be loaned to a Championship team or a lower Premier League team where he's gonna get used to the English game, and he's gonna. I feel it's doing him. I feel it's doing more harm than good by sending him to Spain.
No, I think if it doesn't work out, to cut his loan short, then the second transfer window, loan it to someone in English.
Big time agree. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I was going to ask, Ian, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think that loaning him to Spain is a good idea, bad idea?
Yeah, good idea. But breaking news again that Conor Gallagher has now been authorised to go back to Madrid to sign for Atleti. That appears to be that's a here we go. So that appears
Sweet.
to be a done deal. So he's definitely not coming to us this year.
Good.
Ronnie in the chat, Valith should be sold. Not going to be good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not convinced he's the right player for us either. And having seen Lancashire and Valith, I think Lancashire is the real deal. I really do. I'm a big fan of Lancashire. We had some debate about whether Lancashire would go off on loan, or and Valith would stay, or vice versa. And I was certainly, Adrian will remember, I was very much of the opinion that Lancashire should be the one to stay. He really does have something about him. He has some presence. He takes on players in the box. He's prepared to shoot. There is a touch of the Canes about him. I don't want to overhype him. He's still only 19, isn't he, Adrian? Lancashire.
Yeah. And 23 goals in 22 games. I mean, masses of ability, potential, confidence, presence in the box. I really like Lancashire. So, Valith, I can understand the comment about why lend him to Spain, but what you don't know, one is if the club don't think he's the right fit long term and therefore want to put him into the Spanish market where they think they might be able to sell him. And the second thing is you don't know a championship team was in for him. You know, it might be that they were touting. We talk a lot of things, but we don't necessarily know about. For example, no one knew that Odebeer was signing until it was announced. Nobody, and we don't know that they didn't tout Valith around the championship and there were no takers. I'd be surprised, but if there were no takers, and Spain, also the player may say, "I want to go to Spain." If I'm not. You know, the player does have a say. They're not slaves. So, really good question. But as I say, I'm not entirely convinced that the Valith will make it at Tottenham, and certainly I don't see him getting in ahead of Lancashire, which probably finishes it. He's too good for the championship. Well, you know,
that's a fair comment. That's a fair comment.
Yeah,
I do agree with you about Lancashire. Absolutely, Lancashire he's a natural finisher, and you can't.
And like you said, he plays for the team too. Like he's got that passion
100%.
and fire and desire in him. Yeah.
Would you start though Lancashire over Richie?
No. But ask me next season, and I probably would change my mind.
I would. The reason why, because we put on Harry Kane when no one really knew much about him, chucked him in, and he started doing really well. This kid is the next Harry Kane, I believe it. I just hope he just gets the chance.
Well,
I hope you're right
too. Yeah.
I mean, it was Sherwood who gave Kane his debut, and Levy was saying to him, "Why are you playing Kane over Soldado?" Well, you know, Levy's had his answer plenty of times over since, hasn't he? But, and he's not the only striker, is he? Because Scarlett's gone to Oxford. And you can clip this, he will smash it at Oxford. I'm telling you, always scores away from England, under the radar, because Lancashire's did so well, right? Now, I don't care who comes good as long as we end up with one of them. But, you know, the two I'm hoping we keep to add to the squad be fired. I've got Lancashire and Mikey Moore, but then there's been no decision made on Ashley Phillips or Alfie Devine yet, and I'm sure they need to go out on loan. Devine lost a year on his development because the manager changed at Plymouth and he wasn't played, whereas Ashley Phillips got game time. You know.
Yeah. My brother just texted me because he just heard about the Gallagher thing, because my brother loves Gallagher.
Really?
And, because my brother's girlfriend's best friends with Gallagher's girlfriend.
Cool.
They're like neighbours because they're both from Cork. And he was like, he just wanted him to come so he can get a ticket in the box.
That's awesome. Have they met? Have they met? He's met him?
Yeah, they're FaceTimed when she's on the phone to him. So that's
so cool. That is. I'm sorry for your brother, but I'm glad that we're not getting him. I personally didn't want him at Spurs, and I think that I'd rather have Locatelli. And I understand they're totally different players, but I think that we've
How,
lacked a
how
player.
how much would Locatelli cost though? Because I don't know much about him apart from
I think it's cheap. I think like 20, 25.
I think it's about 20. I think that's a figure I saw, 20 million quid, which is
Yeah.
about 22, 23 million euro, isn't it?
So would you
Yep.
take him over Gomez?
Oh yeah, we have been linked with Gomez, and that was in the chat earlier. That was one of the ones I meant to get to. I apologize about that. That was from Ryan G, I think. And yeah, was asking. So have you guys heard about us being linked with Gomez again?
No.
Yeah, I only saw Wolves Twitter thing saying that Spurs are linked to him, but I don't know if it was true or not.
Yeah.
I don't think no one knows what's going on because obviously we got Odegaard from nowhere. So
Exactly, and I like that. I like these sneaky kind of under the radar moves, where we're not sitting, refreshing our computer over and over again trying to find out when they're going to come. Yeah, it's nice to have a surprise signing. But Jay Ashraf asked a long time ago if he could get our views on the latest links with Locatelli and Gomez. Which of the two would you prefer, Adrian?
Locatelli.
Yeah.
He's 20. Last I heard, I mean, prices of, the rumours with prices was 25 million euros, which is, I don't know, 21, 22 million quid, something like that. Buy him. Just buy him. I mean, he can play as a cam and he can sit, right? So like he can do both. Thiago at Juventus doesn't fancy him, so they want to sell. I think he's only 26, 27. He's just worth more than that. He's worth more than that. Just buy him. But we'll see. I mean, we get into the Ange, just, Ange's insight into Ange's mind now. I mean, like, I haven't got a clue what Ange wants in midfield anymore. If you wanted Conor Gallagher a box to box, if you wanted a defensive midfield, you go and get Ederson, didn't you? Or you go for Fratesi at Juventus, or you even get Locatelli. But I don't know what Ange wants in midfield.
What player? So I've seen bits of Locatelli. What player would you most compare him to, Adrian? Like, I almost want to say that he's like a better Winks. Does that make sense? Like, that's kind of what I see.
Yeah.
He pulls the strings. He likes to kind of run things from midfield. Similar to who's the fellow we missed out on because Levy was haggling over $5 million.
pretty everyone.
Jean Matinho. I think he's got shades of Jean Matinho in him. Yeah. I think
he pulls the strings in midfield, and we haven't. Basuma flatters to deceive there. Can Bentancur do that job? Sarr can't. He's not. He's box to box, right? He's not that sort of a player. So even for Italy, he did it. He pulled the strings in midfield for them. I'm surprised Juventus want to get rid of him. I mean, we've had some good steals from there.
But Daniel points out what's he done the last few years, ever since he was overhyped at the Euros in 2021. Daniel, big love to you, man. I'm so glad you're here. I love the differing opinions. It is so awesome. But yeah, I'll admit that I'm not super clued in on Locatelli, but I just like what I've seen of him in highlights and things like that.
I get what Dan's saying here, but is he that much of a risk at 22 million?
How much is Gomez?
I think they've been quoted around about 60. I think. So,
Jesus Christ!
See, if it's that price,
you could get Locatelli and Vanderson, right, for that sort of money, right, and a tank of a right back, right, from Monaco, who I'd like to see at the club, but then it's a question of the Spence situation or the Porro situation if he gets perfect. I mean, it's we'll have simpler. Well, the permutations will become less complicated once the transfer window's closed, because then we know what we've got and where we are.
So for that 60 million, you probably get Vanderson, Locatelli, and Chiesa, wouldn't you? So,
but with that 60 million, there's a fair gap between 20 and 60. But if 60 million pound does the job that we need it to do, which we desperately need, in my opinion, a defensive midfielder, I think Gomez is actually well ahead of Locatelli in, I think it's tackles and is it interceptions?
Yeah,
and
so
also
I'm sure,
he plays in the Premier League, so you don't have to worry about that transition from one league. We've seen it time and time again. just because a player does well in Spain or in France doesn't necessarily translate to here. I mean, with the new data, the data systems that they use, and they look at 1,000,005 different things, it shouldn't be that much of an issue these days. But if you want a player that's going to fit that role of the two of them, I would say spend the money and take less of a risk and have a Premier League proven player in that position.
I
How
agree.
much-
I think as well, if I was Spurs, I'd test the water and say, I'd get rid of Basuma, maybe swap him and cash, because Basuma he's just not been performing.
I don't know if anyone would want him. That's my problem. Supposedly, we were shopping him around and nobody would even bite. So,
I would get him gone as soon as possible. I would get Basuma out of the club.
Yeah.
I'll drive him somewhere. I don't care. I'll take him anywhere anyone wants him to go. I think he needs to get away
I'll
from this
take him on the
club.
bus.
How much would Gomez cost?
they were saying 60, but I want to know what Ryan.
Around 60 mil.
We'll see if Ryan can confirm that for us.
On FootMod, he's quoted at 34 million asking price, but I think.
But we know that's always going to be lower.
And on one good season, because they bought him from Brazil, didn't they? Right?
Yeah.
On one good season again. So no, not for me.
Scott, what do you have against Sarr, Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just asking Scott what he's got against Sarr. I think Sarr's a good player, especially with his young age. I think that he covered for a lot of our other midfielders. I think that he is the reason why. I don't know. I think that he really did cover for a lot of midfielders, and the reason why players like Bentancur were able to look good is because Sarr was doing a lot of the behind the scenes dirty work. But that's just me. Real quick, do you think Sarr's a quality player for us?
Last season, he was probably our best midfielder overall, but in pre-season, I think he's been dreadful. I think he's done a lot of running around to no real effect.
See that?
I think there's definitely a player there. I think he's a leggy box to box midfielder, and when he's on it, when he's playing well, he's energetic. He picks the team up. He drives them forwards. He tracks back. I mean, he gets everywhere. I think he's a very good player, and you want him to progress. You want him to keep progressing and evolve and take that next step and fulfill his potential. But you also don't want to. I think is he only 20, 21 still? He's very young. So
super young.
You don't want to put that much of a burden on these young players. You don't want them to be a necessity. You want them to be able to come in and play their game and contribute to the team. If you start putting that pressure on them, like this all hinges on you, you need to perform because nobody else is, it can be detrimental to their progression, and you just need to let players play. You need to let young players grow and adapt and nurture them. Some of them need a little bit of a push, but you can't just throw them in the deep end and hope that everybody is going to swim.
I agree.
Absolutely. And Scott, I wanted to apologize. I must have misread your comment. I thought you said to sell Sarr, but you said to keep him on the bench. So apologies there.
I was going to say a player I wouldn't mind. You guys ain't going to agree with me. I would look at Scott McTominay. He's a decent player and he gets around the box.
There's a comment there from Audio Artisan there, with the likes of Gray and Bergvall in the squad. The bar has been raised. Sarr's to show a lot more ability this season. I could not agree with that more. And I've seen all the preseason games. I was at Tynecastle. Graham Bergvall, there was a comment from Scott. I never agree with anything Scott says, but he says about Bergvall on the bench and just a few cup in Europa. I have to say Bergvall is I would start with Bergvall tonight. I don't think he would. I would start with Bergvall and Decky at the two number 8 positions and give Johnson the game on the right hand side. I don't think he will. I think he'll play. Sarr and Maddison there, but he's got the option of bringing both them on off the bench. I think Bergvall Bergval's going to get a lot of minutes this season. I think Gray's going to get a lot of minutes this season. They are both superb footballers in every sense of the word, as footballers rather than players. I think they'll both play an awful lot of football. And the Madisons, the Bentancurs, the Sars, and if he's with the club Bissoumas, are going to have to step up, or they're going to be out. They're going to be sitting on the bench.
100%, absolutely.
I mean, Mark in our group, Mod Mark, he goes on about it, says, yeah, but Sarr and Bentancur, do they improve us and all that? And I say, well, okay, fair comment, right? What we do with Sarr and Bergval is we are treading water. In fairness, neither of them have played 90 minutes, but I've seen enough. I've got great belief in these. I think both of them are going to be stars at this club. But we have yet to see that, so I get the argument. Like I said earlier, at least Solanke and Odebert have got Premier League experience. They've played lots of 90-minute games, you know. So you can, it's a fair criticism to come and say, well, what have Bergval and Archie Gray done? They've shown us of what the potential is. But we have got to see it. We've got to see it over 90 minutes. They're both 6'2", so we should handle the physicality. And we got to see if their bodies, remember they're 18, the physicality to run all those kilometres in a Premier League game. And how many games can you do that before you tire or you're in the red zone? Bear in mind, though, this Spurs side is a very young side.
I think it's the youngest, isn't it?
Star's 22. Your doggy will be about the same as VDV. You know, I mean, you know, Basuma at 27 is virtually an old man in that team, and Son is ancient. You know what I mean?
Personally, I think Bergval's ready. I think every single time in pre-season, and yes, people can say it's only pre-season, but you still have to perform.
Ready.
You're still playing for your place. I mean, he's impressed every time. He's run the show. He's dictated play, regardless of who we've been against.
No fear. There's no fear in him. Exactly. He shows no fear. He doesn't look like he's outclassed or outmatched or,
100%.
Yeah, he did it twice in the 2 games, the second halves against Bayern Munich. He wasn't out. He looked
exactly that.
He looked classy. On the other hand, Gray, in the first match against Bayern Munich, he got bullied. The first time I've seen him have a sort of a semi-poor performance. But in the second match, he mixed it with them and he showed that bit of grit and bite, you know. And I thought, well, that's better than your other game against Bayern Munich. So, no, they're quality players. But, I mean...
I think the difference between Gray and Bergval is that I think Bergval's just so much more composed. I think Gray, because watching the game against Bayern, especially the second one, he'd pick the ball up and he'd be closed down again by 2 or 3 and he'd juggle the ball and his feet are so quick, so tidy. He's got great dribbling skills, but then he'd rush the end product and he'd lose possession, he'd overhit it or he'd give the ball away. And you just want him to almost take that sec, just calm down slightly. But I think that Bergval's probably just ahead of Gray in the pecking order because of, I think they've both got ability, but I think Bergval being able to dictate the game the way he does and being that much more calm about it, I think he's ahead in the pecking order.
And also, he loves to tackle as well, doesn't he? He loves to slide tackle.
Yeah.
I love a slide tackle. That was whenever I was a player, that was my game. I would always be all cut up on my hips because, you know what I mean? You play on some poor pitches, you cut your legs up.
On your hips, I think you're playing the wrong sport.
hey, man. I'd really get into that, man. I'd slide good. But yeah, real quick question. We're talking about him, so I've asked some of you guys, I think, this question already, but no problem. I don't mind asking it again. Do you see Gray as an inverted fullback or as a midfielder in the long term? I know that he played a lot of right back for Leeds last year, and that was out of necessity. But the fact that he is a midfielder, the fact that he understands that role, I think that he would slot in perfectly as an inverted fullback. I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that. And I'll start with Ian.
Sorry, did you say me?
Yep, you're first.
Yeah, I see him as a natural 6 long term. I think he's going to be a superb player. I think the versatility is good that he has because I think he could play in the 8. I think tonight, if you could say if Gray and Bergval was starting, I wouldn't be the slightest bit worried at all. But I see him naturally as a number 6. and the holding player. I think he's got that ability. He's still only 18, I think, so he's got a bit of learning to do, particularly at the top level, and obviously playing 50, 60 games isn't, he's not going to do that at his age. But I genuinely think that Gray has the ability to be an absolutely superb number 6, and only an emergency number, and not only an emergency number 2 right back.
I could see that. He could do a job. So I do think, though, he could do a job there at right back. And like you said, in an emergency, it's good to have players that can play more than one position. But yeah, AJ, what about you, man? Where do you see him long term?
Being able to play multiple positions is good. It means that if you're ever in a position where you need somebody to fill a hole, you can do it. The problem with that is you don't want to be one of these players that doesn't end up excelling in any particular position because you're used as a utility man, because you're filled in here, there, and everywhere. I see him as a midfielder. I think it's good if he can double as a right back. Great. Makeshift centre half. He did all right when he played. The thing is, it was the first game he played there for us. It was the first time he'd ever played that position in his career, apparently. So, and I don't think he did too badly. It's a good thing being able to play multiple positions, but you don't want it to be detrimental to your career.
Yeah, your growth as a player.
If he's got the potential to be a brilliant midfielder, but that's stymied slightly by actually what we're quite light in the right hand side. Let's keep him as a backup. You're doing him a disservice, I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think some players, I mean, Eric Dyer moved around too much. I think that kind of stifled him. I don't know. Does anybody? So it seems like the consensus is Gray's a midfielder. Do any of you guys in here think that he was brought in to maybe be an inverted fullback, or do you guys all think that it's midfield or nothing for him, really?
No, I think he's brought in as a midfielder. I don't see him as a number 6 yet, as Ian says. Want to see more of him, especially that first game against Bam when he got a bit bullied in midfield. So what I see more of him at present, I mean, he's got such a high ceiling, but what I see more of him as a present, as a interchangeable with Sarr on the pitch, because our other pair of midfields tend to be the more attacking, more skillful types of midfielders. So I see him challenging Sarr for Sarr's spot. If Sarr's not having a good game, you bring Gray on. Could he develop into a 6? Like he can, I think he can develop into lots of things personally. I think he's got such a high ceiling. So,
Agreed.
and he played 30 games, as you said, for Leeds at fullback. So, yeah, you see him more as a central, more defensive sort of midfielder than you do someone who gets up to the opposing penalty area that many times. Although he did do it for Leeds, he even played as a 10 for them in a few games, So, but I see him more as a Sarr replacement, and I like Sarr a lot. I do like him a lot.
Oh, I love them all. I think we've got a really good crop of midfielders right now. Obviously, we need to bring in 1 or 2 more, but I'm happy with what we've got. I really am. I know that everyone says everybody's too young. We need some like ready-made players. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think we're short 1 or 2? Maybe 25, 26-year-olds that have kind of done it already? Jamie, we'll start with you, buddy.
I think we need 2 more just for cover, really. But another right back, was it Vanderson? I think everyone was saying. He looks pretty decent. I don't know much about him, but he's good on FIFA, so that works for me.
There you go. Yes, the old FIFA test.
The old FIFA test, and then for the midfielder, I don't know too much about Locatelli. I prefer Gomez, but everyone's different, isn't they? Really, to be fair. But I just want to go back to Gray. I think once he understands the game a bit more, Addy Gold said he's going to be Spurs' Steven Gerrard. Let's hope he's right, because I think that'll be captain material going forward at later stages in his life.
Absolutely. I'm kind of surprised we were able to prize him away from Leeds. I'm really happy about it. People were complaining about the price, but I think in a couple of years, people we'll look back and say, oh, that was a great deal. You know, we got him at the right time. But yeah. So Adrian, what about you, buddy? Are we missing a couple ready-made, ready to go 25, 26-year-olds that can step in and start right away?
We will definitely get a midfielder in before the window closes. Because although we've got 6, we got Europe, and we're getting rid of 3, aren't we? Heiberg, Skip, and Lo Celso will go. So we definitely will bring a midfielder in. Because Andrew likes the box-to-box type, I don't think he's going to go for a defensive midfielder. I don't think, and if it was Locatelli, I know some in the chat are yes and no on Locatelli and all that. That's fair enough. Even I would say no on a Locatelli if he doesn't tick all the boxes with regard to the due diligence and the data analysis. Then you don't go for him, do you? I mean, I'm just going on clips I've seen, and I've probably seen him when he's been playing really well. I mean, I've never watched him play a 90-minute game, I don't think. I was getting to England in the final the other year. I can't remember because I'd have had a few drinks watching that game.
as one does.
As most of the country. You know what I mean? So, but a midfielder, but I don't know. Will we go homegrown? I mean, we could go for a Gibbs White. He's more of a, well, I would say in a Locatelli mould, if you're going to play that, I think he could do that role. And he's very good on set pieces and stuff, a Gibbs White. So would you go for a homegrown instead? Forest will probably want 45 to 55 mil for him. Mm-hmm. We've got the money. Don't let no one tell you haven't. We have. Would I take Gibbs White? Yeah, I would actually. I like him. But others don't, so I don't know with midfielders here.
I think with the midfield as well. Sorry, I reckon.
That's all right.
Names are going to be chucked out there, but I reckon it's going to be one of those signings that we're not going to hear of again. So it's going to come randomly because they did say Lange likes to do that, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we got to remember too. I know Paratici's not pulling the strings anymore, but remember when he would have 4 or 5 players lined up, to, for the same position, just to kind of as like a smokescreen almost. And I mean, who knows? Who knows who's going to come in? Question I'll ask the chat too. Would you guys be okay with Wow, I'm blanking. Who's the player you just said, Adrian?
Gibbs White.
Gibbs White. Yeah. How would everybody in the chat feel about Gibbs White? To me, it's a little flat. Like it's not super exciting or flashy, but he could definitely do a job. Would everybody in the chat be okay with that? Just out of curiosity. Also want to say big up to some people. Mark Cousins is in the house, aka the Sheriff. What is up, Mark? Good to see you, bub. Peter Kagaitis. Don't know if I said hey. Tekken is in the house too. Tekken and Scott are our best buds today, and I'm loving it. And Polio's in the house. We've got Inna Hype, the resident scout of the channel. We've got everybody in here today, and it's wonderful. So I just wanted to take the time to say hey to you guys. Very, very glad that you are all here. So this is something that we also talked about earlier. We have a match to play today. Winks is absolutely going to be starting. I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning or before the season started, he was asked in kind of like a little promotional thing what team he would like to play first, or what team that they would like to, he would like to play first in the season before the fixtures were announced. And he said Tottenham. Well, he's got it. So Winks masterclass incoming. You think he's gonna? It would be very Tottenham if he played extremely well against us.
I think he's going to have a.
Oh, sorry, AJ.
So I think Winks is going to have a good game. I think he's a decent enough footballer, and he played really well for them last season. So yeah, but just to quickly touch on our transfer window, and do we need more experienced players? Certainly, at least 2. At least 2. It's very good that we have signed some very young, very promising players, but if every season we sign 4, 5, 6 young, promising players, the team's never really going to get a chance to grow and solidify. You need a balance of youth, exuberance, and players that have done it at the top. players that have done it at the level that we need, reliable, top quality Premier League footballers. And at the moment, we've got promising young players, but Eze was never getting done, and it certainly isn't getting done now.
Now that the release clause is
so
over
you're
with.
you're looking at least 80, 90 million for him if you want to, because you wouldn't pay 50 million up front.
That's
Tony,
bonkers.
Tony, that deal's dead in the water because nobody wants to go near him. I think he's probably going to go abroad, isn't he? Because apparently the demands he's making are, I mean, he's a gamble anyway. But I mean, I think this transfer window is probably about a 5 out of 10. If we sign two seasoned professionals, players that are gonna, I don't want to see players coming from outside of the Premier League. I think you've got to then bed them in, and because they haven't had a pre-season with the team, that's an issue. At this stage now, if you're going to buy experience, it needs to be from Premier League teams. But who is going to sell Premier League ready players to their rivals?
And this late in the transfer window, we've left it to where there's not a lot of time to replace. So
exactly. So I hope Adrian seems very sure we're going to get at least one more body in. I hope we do, and I hope it's a signing that is going to take us to that next level. That it's going to be like the sprinkles on top. Do you know what I mean? The cherry on top of the icing. That's the sort of player we need, like a standout. It doesn't necessarily need to be a player that we spend 50, 60, 70, 80 million on, but a player that we can all look at and go, yeah, that player's going to come in. They're going to play week in, week out. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mark Cousins dropping.
Wow.
You're a bad boy.
I love it. I had to put that up there. Sorry, I was not trying to cut you off with that, AJ.
So, AJ, with Premier League midfielders then, I mean, if you list them, it's sort of hard. I mean, I know we've been linked with Jacob Ramsey, and I know we haven't been linked with Morgan Gibbs-White for a few months, to be honest, But Ramsey's been in the frame. And that's about it, isn't it? I mean, and João Gomez, and because there's 2 weeks left in the window, and the press will now know we're in for a midfielder, so we're going to be linked with every name they can come up with now. Like Vanderson's a very strong link in the media now, but it might all be BS, because we got two on the right. We've got Porro and Spence. So
I honestly think, and I don't know if you guys agree,
left back. You know what I mean, personally, but.
Let's stick with Spence. I honestly think let's stick with Spence at least until January. Spend that money somewhere else. I think that he's shown enough. And did you hear the comments that Ange had about Spence? Such positive things that he said. He said that if attitude problems were a problem before, that he's never seen it. That that Spence has taken it upon himself to be a model professional. That he doesn't seem to have a hint of any attitude problems. And I think that's great. And if that's the case and he can continue to play at this level, he does need to refine his game a bit more and be better on the defensive side. Most people can have that coached into them, I think that he could. And so I don't know if you guys agree with that. Do you think that we should stick with Spence at right back as our second choice right back? Ian?
Sorry, I was distracted there. Sorry, can you give me the question? Sorry, Colin. Something came up on the phone.
No, you're good, buddy. So do you think that we would be okay if we kept Spence as our second choice right back at least until January?
Spence. I like Spence. I like Spence. I don't think his problem is ability. I think his problem is attitude. He's come back. He started really well. Again, I started him. I saw him at Tynecastle, and I thought, wow, that's a different Spence, a very different Spence. And he's carried that through all the way through pre-season. I hope he's on the bench tonight because I think it would be a shame if he was sitting in the stand after. Yeah, right. Which Christmas, though? They said that about Terry Venables. Mr. in Spain, Mr. Terry will be gone by Christmas. And his response, they were right, but they forgot to say which Christmas. Ange won't be gone before Christmas unless it's a complete disaster. I genuinely hope that Spence can keep this up, particularly if he's not starting. The Daniel Koise defensively, Spence is shocking. I must say he's not, but he didn't impress me against Bayern. He really didn't impress me. I know he was playing left, not right, but he natural shape for a fullback is that 45-degree angle. As a left back, your right eye is what's in front of you, and your left eye is what's behind you. And he wasn't right there, but he has the ability to play that inverted role. Preferably on the right side. If he doesn't prove good enough, he doesn't prove good enough. But I think the bottom line is he was never going to get a chance to say one way or another unless his attitude was right. And his attitude seems to be better. So let's see. At the moment, if Porro got an injury, he probably Spence would get a run. So let's see how well he does. But yeah, I like Spence. I don't think Morgan Gibbs-White is what you need if you want to develop into a side that's challenging for cups, challenging for Europe, challenging Manchester City and Arsenal at the top of the league. I don't think Gibbs-White is good enough to take you there. I think he's a typical Tottenham, attractive, pretty player that will get bums off seats when he goes on one of his little mazy runs. But does he have enough end product to be a top class player? No, I don't think so.
Boom. See, I don't know, Ian. I almost always agree with you on everything, and disagreements are great. I actually love them. I love Morgan Gibbs-White. I think that he's like he's got the tools. But again, different people see different things, and again, I really like that. I wouldn't be mad. Let's just say I wouldn't be mad if Morgan Gibbs-White came in. A lot of people in the chat would. A lot of people in the chat. I don't know if you saw me pull those up earlier.
Sorry, Colin, I need to shoot now. Is that all right?
Oh, of course, man. Yes. Jamie, I just want to say thanks for being on. It's been a really long time since I've had you on the channel, bro.
2 years now, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So we need to make this a more regular thing. Let's have it not be 2 years before the next one, okay?
No, that's fine. Yeah, I've got to go because my missus is calling me, so I need to leave now.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Okay. Hey, goodbye, buddy. Have a great day, man.
Cheers, guys. I'll chat to you a bit.
See ya.
Bye.
And then there were 4. Dude, Jamie's a great guy, everybody. Yeah, everybody. And I'll get his channel.
I find it strange we haven't been linked with no left backs. I know that Bradley Locko just done his cruciate ligament, so he's out of the equation for Spurs. The French, he was 23, he looks quality. We seem to be. I'm just this right back. We keep getting linked with Vanderson. He's a tank. He could play right midfield or wing. He is you doggy Mark II on the right. Yeah, definitely. And I like the player. What I've seen, I really like this player. But I don't think we need him at the moment. I think where's the left backs we could be linked with? There's a young French player called Dorgu. He looks decent, but he's only 19, 20, and I want someone a bit older than that.
I agree. I could see that. Yeah, we're looking for some experience, some age, some experience.
Yeah.
Hey, can someone explain what David Clark is saying here? I think it's my American showing. I don't understand it all the way. I'm gonna watch. I don't know what QUORN means. Do you guys see this comment? Am I dumb?
Substitute protein, isn't it, corn?
I don't know. I'll look to see if there's any Spurs scouts there. LOL. If you know what I'm saying. I do not, but hit me up and let me know. Perfect. And Ian, I just saw your message. All good. Great stuff. I don't know when you sent that though. 48. Cool. Just now. Great. So we've got Ian for a little bit longer, guys. So if anybody in the chat has any questions specifically for Ian, get them in now because he has to take off and has some things to do. And also, I just want to thank you. I'm going to thank you again, but thank you for joining, Ian. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. It's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can do another 10 if you need, but I mean, otherwise, I'm happy. I'm going to start preparing the dinner so I'm done well before the match.
Go, hey, you go do that. You go do that, my man. And,
promote your show tonight. Promote your show tonight, Ian.
Yeah,
I've got a show at 10 o'clock. I know it's rivaling Jose, so I won't plug it. But yeah, we've got a show tonight as well at 10 o'clock. So yeah, you take care, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, Ian, thank you, buddy. Come on, you Spurs. Yes. And everybody, that is the wonderful Ian. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. Big fixture on Spurs diehards, TTID. Make sure you're over there and you're subbed and you're checking him out. Now and then there were three. See, we're all dropping off, but it's nice. We still got a good core group here. Let's see. Mynamic. Wow, I haven't seen you in a bit. What's up, man? How are you? Hope you're well. Big up. And then we've got Paul. Paul's kind of I think giving us some more info on why he thinks that Ange will be gone by Christmas. But he's saying his tactics haven't changed. He will play the same, and we will be opened up at the back. We'll wait and see. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I think preseason is a poor judge. You know, it's hard to judge anything in preseason. Those matches, to me, don't mean a whole lot. I don't know how you guys feel about preseason matches, but I try not to put too much stake in them or try not to take too much from them because they're about fitness. They're about trying new things. They're about getting players ready. So to me, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's still up for debate. But AJ, do you think that his tactics have changed? Do you think we'll still get carved open at the back like we were last season?
Yes, unless he's been hiding something during preseason. I mean, I keep hearing and seeing things online that Andrew's got something up his sleeve. He's got a different tactic. He's tweaked things. So you would hope there have been tweaks because our system. The thing is, a 6 will help, right? A 6 will just naturally add protection to your 2 centre halves as your fullbacks are inverted. The problem we have, though, is if we're better in the final third with the ball and we don't lose it as much, teams aren't going to break on us. The issue is when we get the ball out wide and we're whipping it in, nobody's there to convert it, which is exactly why we bought Solanke, because it fits. The way he plays fits our system perfectly. It's like it was. It's like exactly. And with him in that position, hopefully he's going to be converting more of the chances that we missed. Then the ball is not going to get turned over. And with the whole of the team, except your 2 centre halves on the halfway line, you're not going to constantly be prone to the counter attack, right? So a 6 would still help. A 6, I've been calling for a 6 since halfway through last season. I think if the system's tweaked and we have somebody who just wants to win that ball, somebody who wants to cut off the passing lanes, do all the ugly work for the team. If we get that sort of player, I think the goals we can see drop by a third. But ball retention, right? It's all good. It's all well and good having possession, but if you don't do anything with that possession, there is absolutely no point in it. If you're creating 3 opportunities a game and you're scoring 1 of them, that's okay. You're getting a goal, but that means twice the play's broken down and you're getting hit on the counter. We need to be better in the final third with the ball. So yes, I can see it unless he's got something up his sleeve, unless he's been keeping something back. I can see it being an issue, but hopefully with Solanke in the team and fitting our style, our system,
we'll start putting away those crosses that my boy's putting in. Werner, I think Werner's stats are going to go up this season. He's going to have a lot more assists, I believe, just because just because we've got Solanke in there to finish him off.
Exactly. I mean, we'll see. But one thing we can't do, one thing we absolutely cannot do is go zonal on corners. It just doesn't work. I was saying this on Adrian's show the other night. I can't believe that any professional team would go zonal. Go man for man. Then it's easy to see who has lost their man, who's at fault. Right, you get tighter. You swap players out. You get. There are going to be mismatches, right? But
of course,
when you're going zonal, oh well, what zone did you start in? What zone did you come into? And it's
hard to pin the blame on people.
100%, and then everyone shrugging their shoulders, looking around, they don't know what's going on. Go man for man. If somebody makes a mistake, it's easier to go, you've messed up, get it right, or swap that player out. If you're not physically able to do that job, we'll put someone else. It's easier to sort out an issue if you can see where the problem lies.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Adrian, what do you feel about that? I think that's a really good point that you made, AJ. Do do you think that we should switch from our zonal marking to man to man?
Yeah, it should be man to man. Then people have to take responsibility rather than try and say, "Oh, it's a team collective error." I mean, that's always been rubbish. It's always a rubbish argument, isn't it?
And I mean, of course, you defend as a team, but we're talking specifically, you know what I mean, dead ball situations, corners,
it should be
free kicks, things like that.
We've got 6 coaches. It should be sorted out before the game, right? And you do it on height as well. You know, you match height with height, don't you? Or as near as possible.
Yeah, and look at this. Mark Cousins agrees. Zonal marking is nonsense, he says. So yeah, absolutely. International Observer, glad you're here, man. I haven't seen you. If you guys don't mind, if you're here and you're new, please hit the like and subscribe if you like the content. I'm trying to get back in
can you
to
go
doing
to
this more often.
Comment?
Of course I can. Boom, here we go.
Yeah, Tekken, Alfie Dorrington, right? He had a bad injury, and we won't see him. He can play. He's left centre back. He's really good on the ball for the under 21s. He probably could do a good job at left back as well, but he's not. We're not going to see him for a while, even in the under 21s, because he's recovering from a bad injury.
What happened to him? I'm not sure I remember.
I think he done his knee. It
Shit.
might be cruciate.
That's no good.
But
at least the surgeries have progressed in that area, and it's not so much like a career killer as it used to be.
I can't remember the last time I saw him play for the 21. So he did it.
Damn.
He did it at least halfway through last season or something, and he won't be back to about September, October or something like that. So then he's got, so I need to get more info on his progress. No, but a good player. I rate him. I rate him as much as Ashley Phillips. I mean, one's right-footed, one's left-footed, but I rate him as much. Actually, I think he's a better passer than Phillips. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. Tekken's actually talking about a Luton player.
Sorry.
I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with the fella Tekken. Which shows my ignorance.
If I've seen him play against us when Basuma got sent off, I certainly don't remember him. I was more nervous about whether we're going to win this game or not.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm the same.
Left
I was the same way.
Oh, right. I mean, I don't know what we're doing. I'm surprised we're not linked with left backs. I know we've got Davis for one more year, but we should be planning for a future without him. So I'm surprised we're not linked with a left back.
The one thing about Davis is that I feel like the inverted fullback system suits Davis more than a traditional fullback. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Obviously, Davis is past his prime. He was never world class. AJ, how do you feel about Davis? What do you think if we leave Davis as our backup left back? Would you be severely disappointed?
I think he's a massive drop off. I think he's athletic. He's an athlete, right? And he runs and he can run all day long, but it's just his ability. He's not at the level we need. He's a decent enough player, but not at our level. I think it's an area we definitely need to strengthen him, because if Udogie goes out, then Vander can fill in that position and he's okay at it, but then you don't want him missing from the center of the pitch, So I think we definitely are weak in that position. We need cover. We need not just cover. We need a player that's going to come in and push Udogie and make Udogie better. And for me, Davies just doesn't do that. If you're Udogie, you're not going to bed at night thinking, I need to be on my head game. Davies is taking my place. You're thinking, well,
I'm starting next weekend.
Still get on that pitch.
Yeah,
exactly. It's and for me, and that he's been a good servant to the club, and I appreciate him. And anybody that wears the Spurs shirt, especially for a long period of time, and has given something to the club, fair enough, and I respect that. But if we want to progress, we want to move forwards, we need to strengthen in all areas, and that's an area that we, as much as we need a defensive midfielder, we desperately need somebody else that can come in and do the job at left back, because we just don't have it.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And maybe the plan is to have Van de Ven play there, as second string, because we've got Dragiston obviously to step in to center back if he has to move. I don't know. Who knows what Ange is thinking? I'm excited to find out. And then real quick, everybody, Talking Tottenham TV is the name of Jamie's channel, Jamie Ember, who was on with us. If you guys would please go subscribe there. I'll put the link up in just 1 second. He's given his prediction, and I think that's a great idea. We're running on to 2 hours, and I'm going to do a watch along for the match, so I'm going to take a little break ski in between. So while I pull up the Talking Tottenham TV link, do you guys mind giving me your score predictions for the night? We'll start with Mr. Adrian. Mr. Adrian Stroker, what do you think, bud?
I'm going for a bold Spurs 5-0 win.
Holy shit. Nice. Okay. Goals from who?
Decky to get the first one.
Ooh,
He's
all right.
still
I love it.
I'm on the 5-0, so as we go top of the league because Brighton won 3-0.
Yeah. Hey man, I'll take it from your mouth to God's ears. That'd be perfect. Polio points out too that Gray can play left back as well. That's a good point that I hadn't thought of. Good point. And then I want to read David Clark's comment here. He says, look, if you take a closer look at what inverted fullbacks are supposed to give to an attack, then sorry, ours are not of the level to win trophies. They're supposed to be like midfield players. Yeah, I honestly think Ben Davis is literally could step into a midfield and play as a midfielder. But again, who am I to say? Chris Peters is in the house. Chris, big up, dude. Thank you for being here, man. I love you, bud. And he's being an excellent mod and giving the link to Talking Tottenham TV. Again, that's Jamie's channel. If you have it, please go over there and subscribe. I think it's been a while since he's put out some content too. You know, life gets in the way, things get in the way, but we're all trying to come back. So go show Jamie some love, please. He's been wonderful on the show today. And Chris, again, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you more than you know. Chris was, just to let everybody know, Chris was, I think, the first subscriber to my channel. He was my first Patreon member, first member of the channel. Just a real good dude. Been backing me since day one. So big up to Chris. And then, yeah, AJ, it's time for your score prediction, buddy.
I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs.
I like that. We do always give up a goal, it seems like. I have a hard time predicting us to keep a clean sheet ever, you know?
I think we're gonna dominate the ball. I think we're gonna take the lead early. I think they'll try to come back at us. We'll hit them again, and I think we'll go 3-0 up, and they'll get one on the. Or no, I'll tell you what. We'll go 2-0 up. They'll hit us on the counter as we're pressing to get another one, and then we'll get a third close to the end of the game.
So it'll be squeaky bum time for a while we're trying not to concede a second.
It wouldn't be Spurs if it wasn't, would it?
100%. And you know what? I think we all secretly love that that fear and that you know that you know the fast heartbeat, the blood pressure going up. It's part of Spurs. You know, you can't change it, and I don't know if I would. Rich is in the house though, saying big up. We'll win convincingly tonight. Leicester are a mess at the moment, at least 3-1. Can I tell you though? Hopefully, Dr. Tottenham has retired and has his medical license revoked because I don't want to be the team that goes there and you know fixes Leicester and gets them playing well again. You know that would be Spurs from a couple years ago, and I really don't want that to happen. But yeah, I don't know. Polio says, don't know the score, but Solanke likes scoring against the Foxes. Hell yes. I love hearing that. And also, I'm a big anime nerd, and Solanke does a whole bunch of anime celebrations when he scores. So I'll be excited to see some of those because, like I said, huge nerd. And then we got Mark Cousins with his score prediction, 3-1 Spurs for Mark. And if anybody in the chat wants to get their predictions in while we're closing up, guys, I'm about to end this, if that's okay with both of y'all.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. So, you know, obviously we know where to catch Adrian, and I'll be tomorrow with Adrian. And AJ. And AJ. Shit, I forgot about that. So we'll all be together again tomorrow. And AJ, what about starting your own channel, man? Have you thought about it? Are you going to do it?
At the moment, things have happened in which I don't have a lot of time. If I ever do get enough time. Because I know how hard you guys work. Like I speak to enough of you, and I know the work that goes into it. So if I could ever devote that level of patience and time to it, then yeah, possibly.
Well, hey, we love having you on as a guest. I think that what you've got great things to say. I really love your opinion and points of view on things. So if you had a channel, I'd be your first subscriber, man. You're a great guy. Super duper appreciative of you, man. Oh man, some more comments flooding in. We've got some scores. Oh, real quick. Send me a link for the watch along. Yes, I will absolutely. Tekken says 2-1 to Leicester. Jeez, man. Hopefully you're just trying to do like the anti-jinx. I like it there. And then Polio saying great show, lads. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, guys, I will end mine with what I always say. Even more important than Spurs is being good to yourself and being good to those around you. Life is short. A small little thing you do for somebody, even saying, hey, that's a nice shirt. I like your shirt. That could make somebody's entire day. That could save somebody from having a terrible day. Just a tiny little compliment.
Unless it's an Arsenal shirt.
Hell yes, exactly. but you know what I mean? Just so just be kind to others. It'll all come back to you. It's the world's a cool place. Your kindness kind of comes back. So everybody just be kind. And obviously, come on, you Spurs and Ange, we trust. What about you, Adrian? What's your closing remarks?
Come on, you Spurs.
Boom. And then AJ, what about you, my guy?
I absolutely second what you both have said. So yeah, come on, you Spurs. Let's deal with the Foxes and go top of the league.
Boom, boom, boom. Can't get any better than that. Mark Cousins likes my shirt. Thank you. This is actually very old. It's not like a reissue. My mom got it for me off of eBay. So big up to mom. Julie, she's a great person. Mom. She's here most of the time. She's probably busy at work today, but she's a big Spurs fan as well.
Good.
I turned her. Yeah, it took a while. But she's maybe more into it than I am. But Ryan G says great show. 3-1 Spurs and take care all. Peace and love from Audio Artisan. Peace and love to everybody. And I'm going to close it out. I don't have an outro video because I'm dumb. So instead, I will play the Keeper West Ham video because it's hilarious. And we will see you guys next time. And if you want to watch the watch along, let me know. Or just come join. The link will be here on my channel. And if you need someplace to watch the match, let me know. PM me or whatever. Hit me up on WhatsApp and I'll help you get a stream. But all right, guys. See you guys later. Bye, everyone.